Hello and welcome to Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, spiritual successor to Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and in fact created by the very same person, Koji Igarashi and his new team at Artplay. And why is it only a spiritual successor if it's created by the very same person that made the original, you might ask? Well, that's because Konami, who owns the rights to Castlevania, don't really want to make, well, games anymore. Most of their efforts are focused on gambling machines like slot machines and pachinko, and I don't believe that they think there's any money in video games anymore. And if that's what they believe, then Koji Igarashi definitely proved them wrong, because he created a Kickstarter campaign for this game, and it very quickly became the most well-funded campaign on the platform. And I think it stayed that way until Shenmue 3 came along sometime later. And unlike other campaigns, like for instance Mighty No. 9, this campaign actually delivered what the backers actually wanted, which was a game set in the vein of Castlevania Symphony of the Night and some of the Game Boy Advance games, and with updated graphics naturally and all of that. And I think that's basically enough backstory around the game. Let's talk about the story in the game. You play as Miriam, who is 18 years old, plus 10 years in a coma, basically, and you've just woken up, and there's a big bad that you need to go kill. And that's all I'm going to say about the story, because I don't want to spoil anything. I've played for about 13 hours. I haven't finished the game yet, but I'm well on the way, or so I think. You start on this galleon here, this boat, and that's basically the tutorial. And then you have a little boss battle, and you crash on these shores. Thankfully, you can go back on the boat if you want. If you missed something, or if you have some enemies that only spawn there that you want to kill, go for it. And that's something a game like Salt and Sanctuary didn't let me do, and I'm still salty about that, which is convenient. But yeah, here, just jump on and go to town. And speaking of towns, let's go see... Whoa. Let's go kill some things. I'm quite over-leveled for this part of the game, but that's perfectly fine. Unlike other Metroidvania games, they tend to have you be perfectly on your own, and you just have to, you may find some survivors here or there that could help you with a quest or something, but here you actually have this very broken town that, with a lot of NPCs helping you. This guy is a farmer. Oh. And we got some rice, and let's plant some corn, I believe.
Can you plant this?
Sure, I'll get to work.
And it takes some time for it to show up, and then we have this lady here.
How are you, Miriam?
She sounds very depressing.
Getting by.
And she wants a tea dress. Do I have a tea dress to give her? I do not, but I believe I can make one. She's basically collecting mementos of people who died, and I'm kind of cheating, and the game basically tells you to cheat. We also have a girl over here, a lady.
Have you learned anything new? Here's what I've turned up on.
And she wants you to kill specific enemies in the game. And
good work.
And you get materials for it. But let's go see our little friend.
Hi, Miriam.
Johannes.
What are we transmuting this time?
We can craft. That's not the word. Craft potions and gunpowder. Yeah, well, gold, mercury, and dark matter. Well, that makes sense. I don't have either of those, but good that I can make gold, I guess. Weapons, armor, ammo, and I'm going to make a tea dress, and I can make one. Great.
I'll go with this.
Let's make just one for now, even though I can make two.
I like it.
Pervert. And let's see, we can also prepare food. Let's make some fried potatoes. Actually, let's make... yeah, just one.
Great.
Perhaps some cookies or sponge cake. Now I'm going to run out of ingredients if I do that, and I don't want that yet. Now, food is interesting because the first time you eat a specific kind of food, we go to inventory and we have food, it will increase your stats. This will increase my maximum HP by 50, and fried potatoes will increase my constitution by 1. Well, let's go and scrambled eggs, mined by 1. And if you've eaten one, it shows up as just like you get this little icon there, which is good, so you don't waste stuff. This will also heal you if you're hurt, or you can use potions if you want to do that. And I'm gonna go hand in the tea dress. Hello.
How are you, Miri?
Let's see, yes, tea dress.
Here's what you asked for. This is it. That's one more villager we can later.
Heir apparent number 9. Let's see what she asked for now.
I'm looking for. Right.
Select the quest. She wants a Houndwest. Well, I have one of those, so let's hand that in as well.
How are you?
Just to be nice. Houndwest, good.
Here's what you asked for. This is it. That's one more village.
Now, I kind of feel like I'm lying to her. Also, like, as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. If I do this and this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, yeah. It updates everything nicely, and yeah, this is gonna get very crowded, I think. But I kind of feel like I'm lying to her because I created that tea dress. It wasn't found on someone's body. But be that as it may. In terms of voice acting, everyone sounds very good in both English and Japanese. Although I did find it a little odd that when I used Japanese, it doesn't feel like they're saying... like the text doesn't follow what they're saying in Japanese. Whereas in English, it's a one-to-one comparison. And that just kind of felt weird, especially in the long cutscenes. Where, I mean, my Japanese isn't very good, my English isn't very good either, but my Japanese isn't all that great, but I could still go, wait, that's not what the person said. When I read what they're saying, it's like, wait, no, that's not, he said that last, what? Yeah. It's just a little discombobulating, so I'm sticking to English. But, like, in terms of voice acting, it's good. It's just a translation that feels a little off from time to time. And we had the guy who's lets us craft like weapon and potions and such, and we also have this. That's nice, where you can buy stuff, and I kind of do need some potions, but I have food, so perhaps not. And you can also sell charges, which is the magic of the game, and I'll get into that a little bit later.
Thank you. I still owe you my life.
Right. This voice actor is the only one I don't really get along with in the English translation or English version. And we have this lady here who wants food. And I'm pretty sure she wants fried potatoes.
That's it.
Oh, nice.
How did you know? Oh, it's delicious. Save some for me? I feel a little better. You're welcome. Don't give up. You're going to get through this.
And she gives you rewards.
Is there anything else you'd like?
Yes, actually. But hang it all, I can't remember what it's called.
I'll help you figure it out.
Yellow kernels. Well, that's probably something like not popcorn, I guess, but yeah.
I suppose I'll stick around.
You can see the icon of what it is she wants over her head, so that's a good way to figure it out. And yeah. In terms of mechanics, it obviously borrows a lot from Symphony of the Night, including the backstep and the slide. You get those immediately upon entering the game, so you don't have to worry about that. Supposedly, backstepping all over the game is faster than just running, but it's also kind of annoying. Same with the slide. So I'm just gonna normally run. And you can ridicule me in the comments if you wish. In terms of like equipment, you obviously have a lot of weapons. You have swords, daggers, rapiers, greatswords, katanas, spears, clubs, shoes, that's for kicking, whips, and firearms. And firearms also get like different kind of ammo with, you know, infinite rounds. They don't run out, but they also do very little damage. Like I'm talking like if you're going to kill something at range, you're probably better off using something like a partisan or a spear instead. On the other hand, the spear, if you use it like this, it's not gonna like attack. It's not gonna harm anything that's too close. Whereas something like a longsword definitely will, right? So it's a give and take on basically every weapon, which I like. Also, guns tend to be a lot slower than other forms of attack. And then there's also like equipment like Pirate Hat or Beast Parade. This will change your model nicely. We can even get a wolf hood. Kinda don't like the look of that. Feather crown though, it's kinda nice. Nothing beats the Pirate Hat. The only chest armor that I've found that does change my model is Shovel Knight, basically. But if you use that, you can't slide or you can't backstab, and you only get one attack. It doesn't matter what weapon you're using. But I mean, I guess it's there if you want to be Shovel Knight. Other ones don't change at all. Like, yeah. Also, you get 2 accessories. I'm using the Traverser's Ring and the Silver Power Ring. Both of them increase my attack power based on 2 different criteria. Either how much of the map I've completed or how many enemies I've slain. Then you also get a Scarf, and that does change your model. Though, I mean, the bat wings don't really feel like they're bat wings, exactly. Feel more like Raziel's wing from Legacy of Kain. So we're gonna go with the Gunman's Scarf. And yeah, speaking of weapons, there are a couple of weapons that I feel are really overpowered, and they come from something called an 8-bit coin.
Hi, Mir.
Yes, hello.
So, what'll it be?
If we go down here, I found an 8-bit coin in the game very early on, like after only an hour, and I believe I created the Deathbringer first. It's a great sword that does attack power 26, where most weapons in the game at that point only did like 10. So it's a massive upgrade. And then you can spend money on a 16-bit coin and upgrade it even further. And then you can spend even more money on a 32-bit coin, and you can find an 8-bit nightmare somewhere. I think that's a boss drop, perhaps, to upgrade it to doing 75. And I'm pretty sure that's like endgame level damage. Or possibly there's even a 62 Bitcoin somewhere. I don't know. I haven't found one yet. And yeah, so I think these should be reserved for like New Game Plus. But if you want to be overpowered, you can be rather easily. And I've created a few of these just to see what they're like. But yeah, it's kind of annoying.
Come back anytime.
If you insist. Like if we just equip the Deathbringer, for instance, it has a massive range and does fire damage as well. And just the only bit is that it's slow. You can speed it up a little bit with skill, I guess. And let's talk about that. The magic system is the biggest draw in this game for me, and it's something that they've kind of borrowed and then expanded on from Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, which was a Game Boy Advance game that I don't think a lot of people actually played because it came rather late in the Game Boy Advance's lifespan. But in that game, an enemy would drop a piece of its soul occasionally, and sometimes you needed to kill like 50 of the same enemy in order for them to drop their soul, and it was kind of based on luck, but yeah. And then you equipped that soul, and it allowed you to use one of the enemy's abilities. So if you met an enemy that threw a fireball, killed it and got its soul, equipped it, you could now throw a fireball. It was kind of innovative at the time, and I really loved it. And it's one of the few Castlevania games that I've finished, like completed finish, in that I got like the best ending and everything, because I really loved that storyline and the mechanics of the game. In that game you could equip 3 souls. In this game you can equip 5 souls at the same time, and in this game they're not called souls, they're called shards. When you kill an enemy, there's a chance, like roughly about 4% chance, that one of its shards will drop, and I'm going to show right now what that looks like. And when it does, you get like this animation and you get told exactly what the shard you just picked up does. You can turn that animation off if you want. I like the reminder, like, yeah, you just got something new, check it out. So I'm going to leave it on. I've gotten all of the shards around here, but that also brings up another point. When you find a new enemy that you haven't encountered before, it goes, you know, generally it leads to you going like this. Oh, and there we go. I just got a soul that I already had, bone toss. But generally you like just go back and forth and kill the same enemy all over again, like over and over and over and over and over and yeah, I'm gonna stop now. And that bat is really annoying me sometimes. Anyway, yes, and you find a new enemy, you just go back and forth until you get its shard. And that will allow you to use one of the magics that thing has. So if I go into this and go with Bone Toss, for instance, let's see. No, that's a directional one. There are, like I said, 5 different types. Let's see, Bone Toss. Yeah. So it takes mana, but yeah, and once it's dropped for you once, that just unlocks it for you to use. Further, if you get the same enemy to drop it again, it will make it more powerful. So for instance, this has rank 4 grade 9, and for the longest time it felt like the game didn't actually explain what rank and grade does. Like rank, yeah, it says right there, increase coverage, but it never actually tells you what grade is. And so for the longest time I just thought it was like something superfluous, because you can, if we go back here to this little lady over here. Yes, hello.
Hello. How can...
Yeah. You can sell shards if you wish. So for instance, that was Bone Toss, and right there. I can sell it for 300 gold if I want. I don't really want to do that. The game, story-wise, tells you that if you bring too many shards onto your person, it will corrupt you, but I haven't seen the effect of that at all. So there's really no harm in just, like, collecting them, essentially. And in terms of how big a difference it is, if we go for Head Flail, for instance, it's rank 9, grade 9. And rank increases coverage. When I started the game, and I'm going to show this now, it didn't have a very large coverage at all, and these days it looks like this instead. So it's pretty massive and costs the same. But in terms of like grade and damage, when I was at grade 3 it did a maximum of 111. At grade 9 it does 149 as at a maximum. So it's like a 50%, roughly 40%, 50% difference in, like, depending on the grade. So yeah, you probably don't want to sell the shards of the things that you're actually using. But if you need money badly, then you can sell the ones that you don't need. And so yeah, and also yeah, It's weird sometimes. But yes, you have a conjure, which is the one I just showed you. Then you have manipulative shards, which is just moving objects or turning into a bunny, apparently. Yeah, this will drain mana every second, so maybe don't use it when you don't have to. And healing, obviously, because sometimes you just need to. Yeah, and that also has like rank, faster recovery, and grade increases how much you get per second, whereas rank increases how often it happens. So pretty powerful. Beast Guardian is also one of them. Yeah, and now I don't have any mana, and I can either wait several minutes for it to recharge up again, but it's easier to just go to the nearest save spot and just sit down for a bit. No, I'm not going to save right now. And yeah, there's also like the directional ones that I showed you, and I'm going to go with True Arrow. It's pretty awesome. Or if I wanted something that's a little bit more gruesome, yeah, that's a massive, like, grinding sword. Or Inferno Breath. Yeah, it's pretty big. Now, there's also passive shards. So, for instance, Great Sword Expertise, which increases two-handed sword attacks, which is how I can, like, make something like the Deathbringer faster. I don't really know if I see the effect, or I mean, it's probably like a percentage here or there, but every little thing helps, I guess. Also, once you get this to rank 9, then it becomes a passive skill that you get in this list here. And right now I didn't want to accidentally use the double jump and show you that off. You can turn these on or off if you want. It's not totally overpowered, but there you go. If you get this to rank 7, then yeah, it's gonna be a passive, and then you can use Sword Expertise at the same time if you wish. The grade, however, I don't really know what it does for these. I know it does something, but since the rank is the thing that makes you faster, then I don't know what grade does. And the game really doesn't tell you either, so oops. And you can, like, occasionally steal gold if you want to do that. And then you have a familiar, and I usually use Caraboss here. She's kind of cute, and if you sit down, which we can do over here, and nope, then she will come sit on your shoulder. Kind of cute. She will also help you sing by singing if you sit down by a piano, which is kind of nice. And in combat she can either attack or she can use an item to heal you, but she only uses specific items, like I believe I have a few of those. Perhaps I don't. Kind of worried that I don't have. Well, she used fairy items at any rate, and those drop from things like her. Let's see, we have some Caraboss here, down here. Yeah, there. So, fairy medicine, fairy dust, fairy elixir. And here you also see that you have familiar Caboose drop rate of 4%. So, yeah, and also you can look at the nice little, yeah. Or if you want to look at something ugly, you can do that too. And like I said, there are many different familiars. Some are good, some are bad. And like I've used this a lot, so she's level 29. And oh yeah, normal shards get rank and grade. Summons get rank, grade, and level. So the more you kill things, the stronger they get. But I've found them to be of... Most of them are relatively useless, if you ask me. Like, yeah, the familiar Dula Hammer head, the higher the grade, the more heads you get spinning around you. So right now I have 2, for instance. But, yeah, they kind of attack very seldomly, and they're kind of slow. For instance, Bloodbringer. he will scream, "Yeah!" and attack, but by the time he actually reaches the enemy has either already moved or I've already killed it. So it's kind of useless, to be honest. But perhaps he's good at like boss battles or something. I don't know. Usually I just stick with Caraboss because she can heal me. But yeah, the massive amounts of just like customizability in the system is awesome. And the fact that you can upgrade things like at will is very awesome as well. Now, how do you upgrade? I don't believe I showed that yet. So let's go here. Yes, it's good to see you. Enhance Shard. It takes items, generally. So if we want to upgrade Summon Shovel Armor, we use the shovel for it. But I kind of like my shovel, so I'm not going to do that. If I want to upgrade it further, I should probably go find another shovel armor like enemy and kill it until it gives me lots of shovels. Yes. We can also upgrade basically everything here. Silver Knight needs silver. Well, that does make sense.
I'll go with this.
And now Silver Knight, let's see, it should be down here, requires silver and mithril to upgrade further. And similar, Caraboss needs fairy dust and Queen's Tail. Before she only needed some fairy dust. But now she needs a Queen's Tail too, and I haven't found the enemy that drops that. In terms of like the Greatsword, which I talked about earlier, I need a weapon called a Gram. And I haven't found that yet either. It's probably pretty late in the game when it shows up. But once it does, and I get 2 of them, I'm going to upgrade this and turn it into a passive skill that I don't need to have equipped. And yeah, that goes for all of these expertises and also augments. Ectoplasm, I think I used to have a lot of those. Faster casting, that's nice though. And then you can also craft and upgrade weapons. I did show a little bit about that when I talked about the 8-bit coins, but you can also do that with like AP like ammo and all of your... Well, I don't think I've found anything that can actually be upgraded, but I can build a lot of stuff. But yeah, kind of wish I could like upgrade these too. But you can create things here, and now we know that we're going to get a high jump eventually, but it requires a bovine plume, and that's a drop from a very special enemy that I haven't encountered yet. Yeah. But here you can actually increase your grade to certain things, certain shards, by creating more of them. So if I had a claymore, for instance, let's see, I do believe I can make a claymore. Yes, indeed I can. In fact, I can make a fair few of them. I don't think I can upgrade it a lot. No, I'm not going to equip them. So we go back here. Yeah.
I'll go with this. I'll go with this.
We can just increase our grade this way, especially for this one. And in fact, it doesn't change the requirements for it. That's interesting. So let's make one more. And just waste everyone's time. Flamer, no, claim.
I'll go with this.
And we should probably make one that we can equip as well. There we go.
I'll go with this.
And now, even though I already have, I have a claymore, I can't actually make any more because grade 9 is the maximum. There we go. Yes, of course. Okay, now it is actually a little faster. That's nice. Very nice indeed. So, the magic is pretty awesome. I really, really like it. And yeah, the only problem is it makes you go like this all the time when you find something new. Let's go see if we can... Oh. Just play a little bit. There are a few different mechanics that are kind of interesting. These bookshelves, for instance. Slow. will tell you about specific, like, special moves you can use. So, for instance, this is called Surprise Gift. Hurl your equipped weapon at an enemy, and it's down to left, and X. And it costs 30 mana points. And you can use it with Base Lards, Main Gauche, Carnvenan, and Mandao Pasir. I believe I have a Base Lard, no, not shards. Yes, I do. Oh, that's kind of nice. Nice indeed. However, you can check your techniques by going in here into the archives and techniques. However, if you haven't used it once, then it's not going to show up here. So if you find one of these, you should probably use the technique once just to get it in the list so it doesn't disappear. Or, well, it's not going to disappear from the game, but you might not remember where you found it. So that's something I suggest. And in terms of graphics, I mean, it's pretty awesome, right? Looks good. I had some initial concerns with the art style. Like, I'm used to Metroidvanias being like 2D, very 2D and platformers, and this 3D just kind of threw me for a loop. And also, it kind of feels cel-shaded to a certain degree. And also the way she stands kind of feels weird for someone who's like a combat specialist, but there you go. These rooms usually just signify that you're getting to a loading zone. Or that the game needs to load something new. But yeah, it's pretty darn good looking. Oh, well, you didn't harm me at all, that's nice. I'm gonna go back to something... Yeah, let's go with boots. Oh wow, that's kind of evil. Now you also do get a map, naturally. And I should probably... Yeah, red is save points, and I'm gonna go kill this thing. When an enemy dies, it turns a specific kind of color. Like that's turned red, and this turns, I believe... Yeah, that's also red, but the first guy there turned yellow. What's that about? Well, that shows what kind of shard he's gonna drop. Yellow means passive, red means conjure, and then blue and purple. And these familiars, like, they don't really have a specific color to them, which is kind of weird, but yeah. There it is. Oh, let's get that piece of lion mane. That's nice. And the game will also show you on the minimap. Come on, die, please, thank you. That you have unopened chests waiting. However, I've already opened this, and quite a lot of times actually. So it's a little bit annoying that it's showing me that. And I also can't seem to jump up there yet. Oh well. Ah, no, I do actually have something I think I can use. Reflector ray, probably? Yes. That's a lot of... And that's... Nope. Do you think I can get over? No. Oh, that's a long way down. Also, that was kind of interesting. Let's see if we can try that again. Yes. Didn't know if I could jump when I did that. Oh, you're kind of evil. I don't want to use you, actually. Come on, you didn't die. Don't try. Right, I'm just gonna quickly be an evil person. There you go. Now you're dead. Nope. This is a new area. I haven't been here before. Okay. Oh. Please just stay dead now. Thank you. Emerald and sapphire. That's nice. And more ammo. Capacity at least. And meat dish. That does sound a little alarming. And of course you're back. In terms of gameplay, it's nice. The only thing I have a concern with is that when an enemy hits me, I will flinch back, but when I hit an enemy, they won't. Which I feel it can lead to some very annoying like loops where... Oh, hello, thank you. Where you're not fast enough to actually attack the enemy properly with your weapon, because every time you do, you flinch. Please die. Whereas they will keep just hurting you and hurting you and hurting you, and the only way out of it is to, well, backstep or jump, although that will also sometimes get you flinched. It's an annoying little system. I wish you could make enemies flinch with your weapons. Although perhaps, let's check it. Right now I want to use, what is it called? Encrypted orchid, yes, that's the one I want to use. It has electricity damage, so perhaps it causes flinching. Well, how will I ever find out if they die with one hit, right? I think there's an enemy up here that can take one hit. I guess I'm wrong about that. Yes, he stopped for a little bit. It wasn't a lot, but it might be enough of a flinch to actually get everything done properly. Yeah. Let's see, what kind of place where are we at now? Good. On the map, you can make little checkpoints if you want. And I have made one over here, and I have made one over here. And I'm going to show you what those two places are right now. Occasionally you will come across rooms like these. These are your warp portals, which allow you to go back to the very beginning of the game, or town, or more or less anywhere you want to go. And in fact, if we're talking about the town, that place right there, if you use an item called a waystone, let's go where you are, please show, there you are. Then it will pop you right over there without having to go through a warp gate, which is nice of them. So yeah, it's also that. But that's not what we're here to see. Yeah, please let me just avoid you guys down there and go see this fellow here. Occasionally in the game you'll find an NPC, different NPCs rather. This is one of them, and he will...
Miss, shall I take a little off the top?
That's not the way you should phrase that, please. But essentially, yeah, this is character creation. So, different kind of hairstyles, and some of them are locked off, as you can see. And you have to find books, basically, to unlock new hairstyles. That does look rather nice. And you can change the color. Let's go with white. And this is where you get the customization of the... well, your armor, essentially. Let's go with pink, because why not? And skin color. Calling Mr. Shatner. Now, let's go with that. And eye color, also pink. On the other hand, vampire red does work with the hair color. Nah, let's go with pink. There, and we can also change, I think... It's still blonde. Yeah, blonde.
The look suits you fine.
Thank you. So yeah, some of these enemies are kind of friendly. You will find enemies that look like him out in the world, but none that can actually talk. So yeah. Ow. Please die. Thank you. So don't hit my fairy. So yeah, in terms of all the mechanics, I think I've explained most of them. You also have like an archive of all the demons you've attacked or killed and what they drop. Like these guys don't drop anything, for instance. And yeah, for things that like if you've killed it but not found like one of the drops, then it will be just a bunch of question marks, and that includes the shard. So if you killed an enemy and haven't gotten its shard yet, it will be unknown to you. But you will also know whether it has a shard to drop, which is nice. So there's a lot of enemies. A lot. And as you can see, like some of them doesn't show like what kind of shard it is exactly. Those are the familiar ones. Dullahan head, but we also have like a Dullahammer, right? Oh well, yeah, and all of the items in the game and who you need to kill to get it. So if you need to build something, for instance, let's say you need a lot of mithril. Well, you need to find an axe outsider, and then you have to go in here and find where's the axe outsider and what does he look like. Axe outsider, show yourself. Axe outsider, there you are. Oh, you're kind of interesting. Where did I find you? Oh no, that's the one yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I did show that in the video. That's nice. Yeah, so items and also all the quests you have and the ones you've completed. It's, yeah, these icons, I think they should be a little bit... I would have changed them to be green for the ones that I've completed and yellow for the ones that I haven't. Because if you're at a distance away from the television, for instance, then it just seems like the yellow ones are the ones you haven't finished and the green ones are the ones that you have. But that's all that. And what kind of items you need to create things, that's also kind of nice. Compendium is all of the character and people in the town and terms. Oh yeah, shards. And skill shards, familiar shards. Grade, yeah. A shard's grade indicates its power or effect. Each duplicate shard you collect increases the shard's grade up to maximum 9. Yeah, but the game doesn't really tell you that unless you go into this compendium and look for it, which I find a little bit frustrating. And you increase a shard's rank by enhancing it alchemically. Increases a passive shard's rank to 9, will convert it into a skill shard. You increasing it doesn't tell what like the rank will actually do. You have to look at each shard that you want. And then there's level. The familiar you have summoned receives XP for any enemies Miriam defeats and will eventually level up. Each familiar shard has a level. Well, it doesn't tell you what level actually does for each of these familiars. So for instance, if we go into shards and go to caboose or caraboos, it doesn't tell you what level actually does. I don't think it increases damage because Caraboos doesn't do a lot of damage. Maybe it makes it smarter? There's like, yeah, it doesn't tell you. It also doesn't tell you what the grade does for this one. So, yeah, a little frustrating. But it's nice that they have things like that written down and like you can see all of your personal data here. And you can also check the techniques that you found in the bookshelves. But again, you need to have used the technique once in order to find it here. And then you can go into the journal and here you will find the actual like bookcase books that you've found. So it is possible to find them here, but you have to go through all the ones until you find one that you haven't used yet. So a bit annoying in that sense. Options, yeah, you can change all of the controls the way you want them. And volume, separate slate is for everything. That's nice. Graphics, screen mode, full borderless, full screen border. All of that's nice. Resolution, also nice. Although it did occasionally tell me that my resolution was 2036. Hey, let's see. Not 1080, but 3216 or something, 3116. Yeah, it was a like weird resolution that my monitors doesn't support. Anyway, VSync, frame rate smoothing, anti-aliasing. Yeah, cinematic is the best one. Epic is the next best, which is kind of weird because in certain circles, cinematic experience means low frame rate, for instance, and less good looking in certain senses. But cinematic here is the best you can get. Well, epic is next best, and then there's low. And yeah, and then other voice language, English, Japanese, English, yeah, it's the only ones. Vibration, show hints, shard get animation, that's for when you get your first shard of a kind. And I've showed you what that looks like. You can turn that on and off. Blood, red, black, blue, green, purple, white. White blood, that seems inadvisable. Swap, confirm, and back, and that's like the A and B button on your Xbox controller. Let's not do that. Mouse menu input. I don't really use a mouse, but yeah, it's there if you want it. Reduce input lag, which will decrease frame rate, but like you want better like input. So yeah. And then you can go back to the title screen. You can also suspend it, where you create a temporary save, which is very nice of them, because I mean there were times in this game where I couldn't save for like 1.5 hours. It felt like, and especially after like a boss battle, I would want to have a save, even if it's only a temporary one. So that's nice. There is one thing with the save games though. All of the options here, like especially the graphics options, are saved on the save game. Like they're linked to your save game. So if I create a new save game and change all of these settings and then go back to this one, they'll be back to this. And this causes a bit of problem when it comes to Steam Cloud for me, because one of my computers is really kind of low end, and I've talked about it before, the GPD Win 2. And I want everything on low on that machine and everything on cinematic on this machine. But because it's saved on the Steam Cloud, on the save game, every time I switch, I have to change all of these settings, including the resolution, which is kind of annoying. And I wish they didn't do that. I wish it was per system basis rather than... Oh, that scared me. Stop doing that. Instead of per save game basis. And that's a bit of a criticism I have for it. And that's basically the only criticism I have of it that I can think of, except perhaps these very overpowered weapons. Like, they're fun, but I kind of feel like they take away from the challenge of the game. Then again, if you don't want a challenge, then go for it. Also, let's not focus on her midriff like that. And yeah. And I think that's basically everything I want to say about the game. Yeah, this is a pretty good place to stop. Also, we're matching now. It's kind of cute. I'm going to append to the end of the video the GPD Win 2 footage. It doesn't run super great on the Win 2, sadly. I did find another channel that did like a low-spec gamer kind of video about it. And so I'm using some of their techniques, and I'm going to link both the video and the setup file that they used in order to... Oh, ain't that just too sweet? Also, I'm probably going to stop appending GPD Win 2 footage to videos like this. Not a lot of people watch them, and I'm probably just going to create a second channel where I can put that. So every time I release a video on this channel, I'm going to release a video on that channel on how the GPD Win 2 runs it. Sure, that's going to split my viewer base somewhat, but I think it's the right choice. Because the people who want the review of the game don't want the GPD Win 2 footage, and the people who want the GPD Win 2 footage don't generally want the review. So that sounds like the proper choice, I think. Time will tell. But yes, for now, have a good one, everyone, and I'll see you next time. The game works kind of well on the GPD Win 2. Right now I'm getting 60 frames per second, roughly 50 to 60, and that's really nice. I'm going to leave in the description how I've set up some of the .ini files, and, well, there is one problem though, the audio, and it's, well, let's just listen to this. And then let's listen to this lady here.
This is the keepsake I'm looking for.
Sounds fine. Sounds perfectly reasonable.
Right. I'll see if I can find it.
And she sounds like a busted AI, really. And that just doesn't go away. Every time she talks, let's go talk to this guy here.
I finished the harvest. Here's your share.
Let's talk to
Here
him
to
again.
plant something.
Let's go with more potato seeds. Yes.
Can you plant this?
Sure, I'll get to work.
No. So something's wrong with Miriam's audio. Possibly they're corrupted, possibly there's something else going that I don't know. There has been talk on both the Steam forums and elsewhere about potential solutions to this. But the problem is that there are so many different kinds of solutions that, well, people say, I have this stuttering here, and people just go, yeah, you fix that easily, just fix this, and there you go. And it doesn't actually fix it for them because they have one of the, I don't know. One potential solution for people with AMD FX chips, I believe, is to disable virtual cores and make the game not use the virtual cores, because possibly, the game has a problem with syncing the different cores or something like that. Others say that you can go into the options and change frame rate smoothing, but it's off and I still have the problem. I also turned off VSync. I did manage to remove the issue for a little bit by going with full screen, like not borderless full screen, but full screen. And in the .ini files, I reduced or the frame rate cap to 30 frames per second, and that removed the issue for about 10 minutes until I got to a battle that had like 5 or 6 enemies on the same screen, and then it returned in full force. And the only way, and it doesn't matter if it's Japanese or English, the only way I've found to permanently fix it is to simply remove voices. Yes. Now, this does make characters a little less, I don't know, lifeful. They make them a little lifeless, sort of. But, like, I'm getting 60 frames per second right now, so I can live with that. And with that, I leave you to the rest of the video.